Are you ready to create a life you crave? Let's spin that doom loop of negativity into an upward success cycle and start living lucky.
Good morning.
I'm Jana.
I'm Jason.
And we are living lucky. I know you are too. We just have to share real quickly. We celebrated our 75,000th download last week.
I love it. That's so fun.
We always say celebrate your wins. So we just wanted to thank everybody that is listening. We so appreciate you. And this whole podcast has been a God thing because I literally, I pressed record one day and said, let's talk.
I know. It's been fun just having the conversations.
And we did it mostly to connect with people. And then we were doing it live on Facebook and somebody said, you really should put these in podcast form.
Well, it felt like when everyone went back to work and stopped working from home and they couldn't join us live on Facebook, they're like, we still want to be with you in the morning or listen and be there. Can you just put it in another format where I can listen to it in my car, listen to it somewhere else?
And that's what we've done.
Like,
we adapted.
Figure it out.
Adapting is one of our superpowers.
Our specialties. Yes.
We're talking about hope today. Hope. Because I have been noticing depresh. That's my new phrase, depresh.
That's half a word.
I've been noticing depresh all around me. I don't want to say it out loud. I feel like it's almost a dirty word.
Do you want to call it Depresh Mode?
Depresh Mode. People are in Is that why they named that band that?
It's not Depresh Mode.
Oh, what is it?
Is it?
Yes, it's Depresh Mode, right?
It was, okay, maybe I'll have to look it up. I didn't know that's what it was.
We sound old. We're like, I can't remember. No, I've been noticing more and more people are silently depressed. And so we're going to call that Depresh Mode. They're all in Depresh Mode. And I feel like the underlying root problem is that people are losing hope. They don't have hope in their souls. Their souls are not inspired. They're not. Dr. Phil used to say, you got to get excited about your life.
Wow, that was pretty good, Dr. Phil.
And I feel like that's what's happening. People are not excited about their lives. And they feel like, you know what? I've experienced things. I know how this is going. And I don't know how to change it.
Well, and I had a client yesterday, or it might have been the day before, but it was a thought of everything is the same and this is how life is. So the monotony of life just kind of built up. It's the same thing over and over and over again.
I've experienced that before.
Newness.
I've totally been there.
Now I have a definition of life and I either like it, I don't like it, and that's just how it is. And when you lose a vision for the future, like a compelling, exciting vision for the future where you're growing into kind of new spaces, new sky, new
newness,
an area you haven't been, and the curiosity. So once you put the label of life is this, then there's no curiosity of what else can it be.
I'm so glad you brought that up because when people ask, what was it like to have foreign exchange students? It was like having a fresh set of eyes in the environment that we are so habitually used to. Yeah. So when someone from Indonesia comes to live with us and all of a sudden they see the fireworks out the back door and they think, oh my gosh, Disney World is only however many miles away. And then they start seeing things for the first time. The diner that we go to every Sunday, and they go there and they're like, oh my God, this French toast is so good.
Just driving into the neighborhood. I mean, how many times do you drive into your own neighborhood? And the first time you drove into it, you're like, yes, I want to live here. Then the 100th time you drive in here, you're like, oh, just want to get to the house and get inside.
Yes. Like after we've lived here now 7 years, and I literally think that I'm like, oh my gosh, why does this gate take so long to open?
Why is the house so far in the back?
And why did we pick the house in the back? I think that I'm like, why couldn't we have just picked the first house?
But like even when Carol or Julia
especially when I have to go to the bathroom,
walked into the front door, it's like the piano, the art on the walls.
They see it with fresh
the texture
eyes.
on the wall.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I watched, along these lines, I watched this documentary. I watched tons of documentaries. That's like my favorite genre. But I watched one about Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he said that one of his secrets to success was that he moved to Hollywood or to California, and for him, everything was fun and awesome and so exciting and new and fresh, whereas everyone around him was starting to say, oh, California's going in the dumps.
Oh, it's hard here.
Yeah. They were focused on all of the, the cost of living is so high and we get rejected so much and it's getting dirty and the politicians are making these, radical decisions. But he came in and he was like, oh my gosh.
It's the best place in the world.
There's movies being made.
That was my Arnold
and
impression.
It
was horrible.
That was almost as good as my Dr. Phil.
It was like Arnold from Charlotte's Web.
So it kind of goes back to what are you focused on? And okay, so how do you get that newness? How do you get that hope? How do you get that inspired feeling?
What I like to do is I like to look at my past and look at what my accomplishments are. Because a lot of times we forget what we've done. It's almost, so even just in a day, we forget about what we've done and we focus on what we haven't. So in life, a lot of times for longer periods of time, we don't focus on all the accomplishments, all the excitement, all the fun, the good emotions.
We focus on what went wrong.
We dig in because there's little tiny pit holes that trap our energy in it on what went wrong, what we didn't get done, what we missed out on, and we put our flag or our little pinpoint in that. If we can go back
Which path are you going to take? Which path are you going to take? It goes down to the road diverges in two paths. Which one are you going to take?
And the funny thing is they're both true, like both happened, but we keep repeating and ruminating and telling ourselves the hard truth instead of the good truth and the fun and empowering truth.
Well, here's the thing. Every circumstance has a positive and a negative, just depending on how you look at it.
Focus.
And so it goes to your focus and what you're even talking about a little deeper, your perception of it, your perception. And again, once we realize it's just a circumstance, I get to choose how I want to remember this, how I want to store it in my brain, how bright I want to make the memory book. Correct?
Yeah, and then what words are we using to tell the stories? Like, are they empowering words? Are they disempowering words? And then what words are we using to describe our future?
And let me just add this. The reason that Jason is starting with the past is because that oftentimes is the stop stick of why people don't look to the future, or when they do look to the future, they see a little doom and gloom.
Yeah, and it feels heavy.
They are comparing it to what they have already experienced.
Yeah, they're dragging the familiar past into an unfamiliar future, and that color coats that unfamiliar future instead of bringing either showing up in the present and creating from fresh, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or just creating a new past that's familiar of all the accomplishments and achievements and fun and excitement, and saying, if I had it here, I can have it anywhere. I can create whatever I want.
Yes.
And having that vision for what is it that I want. And now I have something that I can start exploring, getting curious about, and finding that road.
The problem is those curiosity and those new inspired feelings are unfamiliar to us. And so when we start to step into our new self, when we start becoming, when we start experiencing love and hope and excitement, there's something innate inside us
I'm not used to this.
that thinks, oh my God, this isn't comfortable.
This is quote unquote different.
This is making me feel weird, and I don't like feeling weird. Yeah. And then so we fall back into our old patterns.
Sameness.
Our old sameness, because we're like, it's almost like innately, subconsciously, we are afraid of success, happiness, joy, love. We're afraid of it.
So think about this. What if you cultivated a group of friends and you went on this joy challenge, or you went on this vision challenge where you're like, okay, we're all going to create our visions. And now we have this, when we get uncomfortable, we can talk with our friends and lean in together. So when we get uncomfortable, we don't fall back into our sameness, because our habitual instinct is to stay with the pack.
Yes.
Right? And now we don't feel alone in that difference.
Okay, so you just brought up a whole nother thing, which we might have to turn into another podcast, because that is exactly, we are afraid to be different. However, in order to make a change, in order to step into our future, we have to try something different.
Yes.
We have to try something different, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if we do the same things that we've always done, that we've always felt, that we've always thought, that we've always acted on, then we're going to have the same results.
And if we want something different and we keep doing the same thing, that is the definition of insanity.
And the way I started this out is I look around and everyone is silently depressed. So if we try to be like everyone else, guess what we're going to be?
Depresh Mode.
Depresh Mode. Make that into a band.
I want to keep living lucky.
I mean, think about that concert. Everyone's like, I don't want to be here. I'd rather be home.
Boo.
God, we have to listen to another song.
It's the same song, different lyrics.
I know how this is going to end.
Yeah. So I think that's probably, so it's been when we grew, as we were growing, it wasn't like it was.
And we're
easy.
always growing, so I don't want to put that in past tense.
We're not done growing. But we've gone on this intentional
growth spurt,
pouring it in,
and
resources
there's growing
and
pains.
everything.
There is growing pains along the way,
and it hasn't been easy, but we stuck to it.
We have,
and I think part of that is that we had each other.
And I agree.
So that when one of us was like,
wholeheartedly,
this is getting too uncomfortable. This is getting very tough. And that's you've been a great accountability partner and life partner.
Oh, definitely. And likewise. And I feel, I mean, it's almost like we're mirrors, because I see you going through something growth wise, and I feel like I'm your rock in that moment. And then it goes back and forth. Yeah. It goes back and forth. It's almost like two rubber bands that are climbing up a mountain, because then I see, okay, you know what? I'm experiencing these things. And here's the other thing is I also notice that when I am experiencing these things, if I say them out loud or pour them on you, you will eventually experience them too.
Yes.
So we need to be careful about that one.
Are we pouring out good, empowerment, or are we pouring out disempowerment and disbelief?
And so that has helped me realize, okay, you know what? When I'm feeling these things, let's transmute it inside here, because
what's it really telling me?
I want Jason to experience growth and goodness and high vibrations. Hope is a high vibration. And that's where we need to go. And that's where I'm going to end.
And that's why we're living lucky.
I love it.
And you are too.
Thanks for joining us. We're all living lucky.
Yeah. Share this one with a friend who needs it.
Bye-bye. Take care.
If the idea of living lucky appeals to you, visit us at startlivinglucky.com.